Welcome to episode number 280 of the Marine Layer podcast. The Mariners' vibes are at a season high, dare I say it, maybe a 2-decade high. Also, we'll talk about Ichiro weekend and Julio Rodriguez officially being back. We'll see whether or not we stamp it.
Here's your guys' reminder. Stay on top of all of our stuff. If you want to do that, you can go right over to our website where you can find everything from our episodes to our merch to our Patreon, to our live show schedule. We'd love to have you guys check all that out. We'd love to see you guys wearing the merch. So go get your Marine Layer Pod merch. Go like, comment, subscribe over on YouTube. Go download these episodes and rate and review on the audio side. It all helps us out a ton. That's over at marinelayerpod.com. And you can check us across social media at Marine Layer Pod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. 1-1 from Jansen. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game in 7-7.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network, recording on Sunday evening, August 10th. I think in the little over 2.5 years of doing this podcast, Lyle, I've not felt better vibes for a weekend at the ballpark than I felt this weekend in Seattle. It was fucking electric.
Yeah, it was. Hell yeah, it was. I guess the only thing you could comp it to would be August of 2023, and I think we might get into that. But to stick on the current, to stick on the now, these dudes are rolling, and they are steamrolling people offensively. Like, to the point where I had to tweet out the Tiffany Gomez meme of her on the plane to talk about the Mariners offense to say, that motherfucker back there is not real. Talking about the Mariners offense. I didn't have any other words. They literally look unfathomable at the plate in the best of ways.
The Seattle Mariners offense has 9 players in it that are hitting at an above average rate this year. 9 players. Every single position is above average now that Cole Young got over 100. That blew my mind when I saw that after Saturday night's game. Like, this isn't supposed to be possible for a team playing in the worst hitter's park in all of baseball. But they've come out here in August, and all they do is score runs. And guess what? They've scored all these runs. They've mashed all these homers. And Gino's been awful since they acquired him. He's been bad at the plate. And they're doing it without him.
And again, he's going to be fine. We love you, Gino. The city loves you, Gino. We're not worried about you. We are just objectively talking about, okay, in the first couple weeks, it hasn't been one of those hot Gino stretches. He's been a little bit cold, which is fine. Cal just got out of a slump, and obviously other guys have been through slumps this year, which is totally fine. You know he's going to turn it around. But that is more to put it in a positive light, to say even when Gino's not hitting, they're still doing this.
Gino has a -6 WRC plus and a near 40% strikeout rate since the deadline, and the Mariners acquired him. And the Mariners in that time are still 4th in the league in runs scored and 1st in home runs.
Is that good?
I'm honestly surprised, Lyle. No one's DM'd us asking where Ben Williamson is and why Gino isn't going to the bench.
Oh, boy.
I'm kind of surprised. If Gino didn't have so much positive energy with this fan base, I think it would have happened.
Am I talking so loud that I'm echoing to you? Or I'm no?
I don't think so.
Oh, well then maybe I'm just talking so loud I'm echoing in my own right. All right, well then good. I'm going to wake up the neighbors around me just screaming about the Seattle Mariners. Anyway, man, this has been fun. It's been awesome. Like, we have not seen a Mariner offense like this maybe ever. We certainly have not seen 9 guys all be above average hitters at once that are all starters. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it. Just 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, on the very esteemed radio show that I'm now a part of, with legendary Mark from Maple Valley yelling about Caballero, Sam Haggerty, Dylan Moore, and Mike Ford at the bottom of the order. Like, those days are long gone. They have legitimate dudes all throughout the lineup. I'll say it again. Their number 9 hitter in Cole Young has a 920 OPS in the last month.
And an over 400 on-base percentage. Just
Help.
kind of bonkers.
Helps when you walk 4 times in a game like you did on Saturday.
Yeah, what is this? It's the stretch since, I wrote it down here. Since the All-Star break, he's walking 22% of the time. Like, that's what Juan Soto does at the plate. His approach at the plate has been really, really dialed in at this point, which is, love to see that for him. Again, he just turned 22. And he has that approach against big leaguers at the bottom of the lineup where he doesn't, like, the pressure is not on him at all, and he's still coming through, which is excellent. Do you know what I was actually thinking about today, too, when I was thinking about Gino? So Gino has come in, he's struggled. I think he's going to turn it around. He's going to clobber some more home runs. He's going to finish with at least 45 bombs. Maybe he'll get to 50 if he heats up. That would be awesome. The Mariners could have 250 home run hitters. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many teams in baseball history have had 2 separate 50 home run hitters, but I can't imagine the list is very long. What if they traded for... What if instead of trading for Randy Arozarena last year at the deadline, they traded for this year's version of Gino, and he does this in the first week on that roster? Last year.
Oh, last year?
Yeah.
I mean, people love Gino and all, but man, if you had that version of Gino on last year's roster paired with all the losing they did on that road trip, I mean, the discourse would have been awful.
It would have been so toxic. The problem is it would have fit like right into that lineup. But the difference between last year's lineup and this year's lineup is that this year's lineup, over just for this weekend, for example, you have Cal Raleigh mashing 3 home runs. You have Julio Rodriguez breaking out of his slump and hitting on Saturday what was just an absolute nuke to straightaway center field. Seeing him pimp one that he hits into his own section in straightaway center, no doubt about that one, and then hits a ball even harder straight down the left field line for a second home run of the game. And then on top of that, again, we've mentioned Cole Young. Josh Naylor has come back healthy. He had another home run here on Sunday. The list goes on that you can keep talking about without mentioning the name Gino. And he was the most prized acquisition out of any team at the deadline.
Yeah.
And the Mariners are just like, that's fine. We have 5 hitters right now better than him. But when he comes back and he starts hitting a little bit better, I think we'll be pretty good.
I have an answer to your question. I just Googled it since you were curious. Only one team in Major League Baseball history has had 2 players hit 50 or more home runs in the same season. Would you like to guess who it was?
It is going to be a Yankee team with Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth.
It is a Yankee team. It's not those 2. It's not that era.
Neither of those 2.
Neither.
So it's going to be Mickey Mantle and someone else.
And...
So Mantle took over after DiMaggio.
And who
else? It's
else?
going to be Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. That's what it's going to be.
Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris in 1961. That is the only team in the history of baseball to have 250 home run players on the same roster.
That's insane.
How crazy would it be if Gino is part of a Mariners group that in the course of 2 of 3 seasons was part of a group that they'd be the second team ever to hit 50-plus home runs in a season with him and Cal. And he'd also be part of a group that is part of the only team to have 2 players strike out 200-plus times or more in a season in him and Teoscar Hernandez.
There's something literally, Lyle, only the Mariners can do. The Mariners are the only team ever that can have 5 busted testicles in 50 years.
Well,
it's historic.
And for a while, they had more of those in playoff appearances.
Exactly. I mean, well, you come to Seattle, you're one of a kind at that point. So what can we say about Gino? He's historic. The vibes are historic. The hair is historic. The winnings, not historic at all. But it might be the next 2 months. I don't need the last 49 years. I need 2 more good months.
Let me say it again. I think I tweeted it today. Watching this offense just has me thinking one thing, and you all should be thinking it too. Don't ever take the blue pill. Keep living the dream of this offense and ride it as long as you can. Do not ever take the blue pill.
I'm going to repeat after watching what we watched this weekend, what I said last week. This offense and starting pitching staff right now are too talented and too good for this team to miss the playoffs. The Mariners are comfortably now in the first wild card spot. They're 4 games clear of being out of the wild card picture. They're a half game behind the Astros, and they're 2 games out of a bye in the playoffs right now. What they need right now is 6.5 good weeks of play before you play the Dodgers on that final weekend of the season to get into one of those spots and clinch. Because guess what? The Yankees have been one of the worst teams in baseball since the middle of last month, like last 45 games, I think, last 50 games. They've been bad. Astros beat them again today. The Mariners have already overtaken them, right? Looking at this playoff picture, the threats are not all that threatening. There really shouldn't be any reason why this team, stacking up against all the other playoff teams or supposed playoff teams in baseball, why they can't be in the final 6 teams to make it. There is no reason. No reason. There's too much talent on this team.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. And you just look up and down the American League. Like, who's striking fear into your eyes right now? It's sure as hell not the Astros.
No.
I mean, it's sure as hell not the Yankees right now. I know Judge just got back, but you look at the rest of that team and all the struggles they've had, and they haven't had Garrett Cole all year, and Max Fried, for as good as he's been, I mean, he didn't pitch well today. It was just one start. But, man, like, that team doesn't strike much fear into you either. Pick one team. Who strikes the most fear into you of any team in the American League?
Mariners, I'll say, haven't played this version of the Blue Jays. When they played the Blue Jays were not playing all that well.
And the Mariners still lost 2 of 3 to them. But the Mariners weren't playing that great at that point either.
I'm going to say,
although,
out of all the teams, I'd probably say the Tigers.
I think, if I have this right, I don't think the Blue Jays have been on like a great stretch as of late. Well, they're 6-4 in their last 10. So I guess they've been all right. But,
well, the way I determine how the Blue Jays are playing, I just watched friend of the pod, Johnny Junta.
You watch Game 14. You watch Johnny Junta.
I mean, I'm not looking at the stand. I literally just watch. What does Johnny say in his reactions?
Well, I like to watch both, personally. But I like to watch the games and the reactions and just how they're doing in general. But yeah.
But numbers don't scream at you through a green screen.
No. The one thing I'd say about the Blue Jays is they do have... Well, early in the year, they had some really good bullpen arms, but all of a sudden that bullpen's tailed off a little bit. Like, Jeff Hoffman has not had a great year, and Mason Fluharty, who I thought looked really sharp early in the year, he hasn't been great. Like, yeah, there's weaknesses on every team. Like, and then you look at the Blue Jays rotation. Is there anybody in that rotation that's striking fear into you right now? Both Barrios and Gausman have been just fine. They've been guys.
So the Tigers, because they have Tarek Skubal.
Well, and that's where you could run into a problem, is if you get in a 5-game series and you have to see Skubal twice, that would be very tough.
Even though the Mariners have beaten him twice.
Yeah, and it doesn't really feel like they beat him 4 times in a year.
Even though the lineup they throw out against him for the 3rd and 4th time supposedly would be astronomically better than the lineup they threw against him the first 2 times.
Yeah. I mean, is there any world you could argue it's the Red Sox where you'd have to face Crochet twice and then that offense?
They've hit pretty well, haven't they?
The Red Sox? I mean, yeah, the Red Sox have a good offense. And Roman now looks like the guy that he was supposed to be, and it only took him about 6 weeks to do that.
I'd still say the Tigers. They're probably deeper. Though the Red Sox very good defensively in the outfield too. Mm-hmm. So there's that complete nature of their team. How about the Red Sox, by the way? We're sitting here thinking we've made jokes over the last couple of weeks about the middle relief president of baseball operations for the 2 teams, Jerry Dipoto and Craig Breslow, because that's what they did in the big leagues. Both have had their fair share of criticism in their jobs, and now their teams are both playing great.
And a lot of those criticisms for both of them have to do with some of the PR disasters they've run themselves into. But yeah, both those teams are playing really well.
Yeah, and both have made trades that people roll their eyes at. None bigger than that Rafi trade. Now the Red Sox are a lot better than the Giants are.
Yeah. It's crazy. So. Although I will say, I'm not going to sit here and act like the Devers trade was like, I'm not going to sit here and act like the Giants made some massive mistake to make that trade. Number one, he's one of the game's best bats. And 2, like, his OPS plus is 125 in San Francisco. He's been totally fine, you guys. Over like a 2-month stretch or 45 games to be exact, the Devers has played in. He's got a 125 OPS plus. He's been totally fine.
And the Red Sox didn't even keep James Tibbs. who's the headlining piece of that trade package.
No, they traded him for Dustin May.
Which, yeah, kind of puzzling.
Definitely puzzling.
But in conclusion, Lyle, I would, the way that gets laid out there, those would probably be the two teams just because of those two pitchers that would strike the most fear in you. But the only way you match up with the Red Sox is if the Mariners are the number one wild card, or the Mariners and the Red Sox need to, in some order, finish 1 and 2 in the wild card. That's the only way they face each other in that first round, at least.
Right.
They can face each other after that.
And that could happen. They could be the top 2 wild card teams.
But then, do you know what the Mariners throw back at you? They have 4 starters.
And Bryce Miller out of the bullpen, potentially.
Yeah. So, like, sure, scared, yeah. I'm really trying not to get too far ahead of myself. And we haven't even mentioned the bullpen, but they look good. And I felt that walking around the ballpark the last 2 weekends. Like, everyone we go and talk to now, there's no more complaining.
Dude, everybody's in this awesome mood. There's no offense can't hit. There won't add at the deadline. You know, God forbid early in the year when there was nonstop talk from fans about the offseason, well, and us included. But now it's just, it's nothing but like positivity and excitement and positively looking into the future. Like, the atmosphere around the ballpark is as good as I can remember.
And
Even when
in the life of this podcast, yeah.
In the life of this podcast, yeah, for sure. Obviously, in 2022, it was great. But like even in 23, when they rattled off that hot August, like, people still felt the after effects of the Seawall trade and kind of, what do you want to call that deadline? I mean, they basically sold, right? Like, you could call it buying and selling, and it kind of sold at that deadline.
They were non-committal.
Right. So a non-committal deadline and a roster that people had questions about. Again, a bottom of the order that, you know, didn't exactly feel like a world beater with, you know, love Hags, but Haggerty and Mike Ford, etc. So even when that hot August stretch happened, I think there was still skepticism from some people, and for good reason, because they were the team that missed the playoffs. Now not only are they winning, but it feels like a legit threat.
Well, there's a few big differences between those two teams. Number one, the Mariners roster really didn't change all that much in 2023 between pre-deadline and post-deadline. Like, Canzone and Bliss were not the key cogs of what unlocked that August. The Mariners' entire roster just started playing better all at once. And when you have 4 months of a roster not performing well, and then you have one month where they performed the best the franchise has ever seen, you think, this is probably not who they are. And that was right, because then September happened, they crashed back to earth, and they missed the playoffs. Yeah. Also, if you remember that Mariners rotation, they had Logan Gilbert, who's pitching well. They had Luis Castillo in his best full season as a Mariner. But they also had rookie Brian Wu, and they had rookie Bryce Miller. And then they had that, who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. Was it Flexen?
No, and they had Kirby.
Oh, they had Kirby. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know how I forgot Kirby. All right, so they had those top 3, but then they had rookie Bryce Miller on an innings limit, and then they had rookie Brian Wu on an innings limit. Both of them got so exhausted down the stretch and folded in September, and that was a big reason the Mariners missed in the playoffs. The Mariners don't have any of that going up to September now. Brian Wu stretched out, Logan Gilbert stretched out, Luis Castillo stretched out, George Kirby stretched out, Bryce Miller's coming back. There's none of that. And you know what? This team, unlike the 2023 team, they actually made their team better at the deadline. They saw what they were doing before the deadline when they weren't playing well enough, and they said, we need to make this team better. And they went out and they made the team better. And now they have this lineup that all we have to say about it is positive things. Those are the big differences. They added, and just the roster's more stable overall if you just go through it. And the bullpen's, honestly, like, that 23 bullpen was very good. Better than this bullpen, definitely. I would love that 2023 bullpen back. When you trade Paul Sewald away, losing a guy like that hurts.
Yeah. Rather than adding. And there's no doubt they added now. Yeah, it's crazy. It's fun to, like, all of a sudden, like, kind of hypothesize and look toward the future. And they still have to get there. They're going to go out on a tough road trip this week and over the next 3 series. I know Baltimore's no world beater, and Baltimore's had plenty of struggles. Like, that's a series they should win. But there's no question. Like, to go into Citi Field and into Philly is not going to be easy. Those will be two tough series. But that'll be really interesting to watch how they respond on the road against those teams. And I'll tell you what, like, if they play well out there on the East Coast, the helium's only going to increase and the excitement's only going to rise.
And then there's the road trip after that. They play the Guardians. The Guardians, despite them being in more of a they were also kind of non-committal at the deadline. And they had, Emmanuel Clase get suspended. So the Mariners will play the Guardians at the end of the month. After that, you look ahead. I remember people mentioning to us, it's like, oh, the Guardians aren't that much of a threat. They've been really hot recently. They're right nipping on the tail of, I think, the Yankees in the wild card right now. So they're getting pretty close. But then after that, you just handled the Rays. You're going to go on the road to the Rays series. You'll play the Braves. The Braves have been awful this year. Really bad. Then you have the Cardinals at home and the Angels at home and then the Royals on the road. And then you have your next meaningful series against the Astros. And then after that, you get the Rockies. And in your last week of the season. I'm really trying, like you said, not trying to get ahead of myself here. But if you get through that Guardians series and you continue to play as well as you're currently playing, because guess what? It doesn't, outside of playing the Dodgers, doesn't matter who you're playing right now if you're playing like you played over the weekend. Literally does not matter. You'll beat these teams. You'll win 2 out of 3, if not sweep. Also, if they keep that up through the Guardians series, then you can start getting ahead of ourselves, I think.
Yeah, also, there's a world that Dodgers series in the final weekend means nothing for either team, which for the Mariners would be great. You don't have to sweat the Dodgers coming into town. If you've already clinched by that, well, that may mean something to the Mariners because they still may be fighting for positioning by that time. Even if they clinch a playoff spot, let's say, they could be fighting for positioning in that final weekend. But there's a world where those final couple games might not matter. Maybe only the Friday game means something. And for the Dodgers, it may not matter at all. Anyway, point being, you're right. Like, the Mariners have it all laid out in front of them, and it's there for the taking. This is in their control, and this is something they can absolutely tackle.
For those curious, in terms of remaining strength of schedule among American League teams, the Dodgers, I don't know how they manage this, have the easiest remaining strength of schedule. That doesn't make any sense. But the Yankees have the 27th, the Tigers have the 26th, the Astros 25th, the Mariners 24th. Mm-hmm. So you do have 3 playoff teams in front of you in terms of easiest remaining strength of schedule.
Yeah. Also, to answer your question, the Guardians are now half a game back of the Yankees. So you're right. It's funny, for as very ho-hum as they played for a lot of the first half, man, that team is just pesky. They don't go away. They always find a way. Like, their roster always feels a little bit undermanned. There was talks that Stephen Kwan maybe traded off the team the day of the deadline, and yet now they're fighting for a playoff spot.
They just kind of feel mid, but they're playing a lot better.
Well, maybe there's no more in-house odds that are bogging them down.
There's no more thoughts about the first pitch of the third inning anymore.
No.
I'm not going to try and bring up too much PTSD, but if you might remember, the series that started the Mariners' tumble last year was a 3-game series in Cleveland. So let's hope for an opposite.
Is that where that road trip started?
Not the Service got fired road trip, but the 10-game lead blown started in Cleveland right after they swept the Rangers.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that road trip from hell last year in August. I was going to say it was the Pirates, Tigers, and Dodgers.
Yeah.
In order, I think it was Tigers, Pirates, Dodgers.
Yeah. Nothing like being in a playoff chase and losing to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, they did face Skeens that weekend.
Do you want to make the playoffs?
I mean, yes, but nobody hits Paul Skeens.
Well, the Mariners beat Tarek Skubal twice this year, and they beat Paul Skeens. Just not Paul Skeens himself, because they
didn't. I was going to say they didn't really beat Paul Skeens himself. They got shut out by Skeens and hit their bullpen.
Can we acknowledge how funny it is that Adrian Hauser wore a Thunder jersey in T-Mobile Park and then proceeded to get drilled today?
Good. Like, eat it, buddy.
Is he from Oklahoma? Like, what is this connection? Why did he do this?
Honestly, is there a chance he did that just because he was in Seattle and he wanted to make fans mad? No, he is from Oklahoma.
So he's probably trying to troll. Well, guess what, buddy? Sorry.
You got.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, good.
Pretty ironic how that all worked out. And here's one last note for you here, dog. If you don't want to, you're trying not to get your hopes up. According to Fangraphs, the Mariners now have the best odds to win the American League pennant and the third best odds to win the World Series behind the Dodgers and Phillies.
I was going to bring that up. Did you see that tweet today? Did you see Fangraphs put that out today, that they have the best odds in the American League now? Good Lord.
Yeah. What have we come to as a world?
Dude, this is... See, like, I don't want to do it mentally because I know that it can lead to a lot of disappointment. But it's so hard to not just sit there and look at these guys and say, yeah, this team can make a run. They are capable of it. The rotation and the talent in the rotation paired with the offense right now looks too talented to not dream on what they could do.
There's one guy that we should highlight here over the weekend. There was a lot of good performances, but I think one stands out above the rest, and that's Julio. Is Julio back?
We stamped it on Saturday. Yes. Yes, he's back.
Swings do look like it. He's getting pitches right in the middle of the plate, and he's not missing them. I was digging into the numbers a little bit when we were doing our social post over the weekend, and Julio over the last month has been on fire. Overall for the season, Lyle, his stats are back up to right about where they should be. He's just under 4 Fangraphs wins above replacement, a top 20 player in baseball, a 116 WRC plus with the defense in center field. That's pretty good all by itself. But since July 7th, I think this is since July 11th, 286, 330, 667, tied for the most home runs in baseball at 12, a 24% strikeout rate, 6% walk rate, and 1.7 Fangraphs wins above replacement. Just in the last month, that comes out to a 178 WRC plus for Julio. That is MVP Julio right there. That's 2023 August Julio right there.
In the last month, it's an 851 OPS. In the month of August, over 900. Yeah, he's back. Julio Rodriguez is back. And his swings, to your point, they look on time. They look smooth. He is catching the ball out in front. Yeah, he's locked in.
And I thought that was kind of important for him to come back over the last week. This was before Cal hit his 3 home runs over the weekend. But Cal, as we noticed, had been struggling a lot. And they were always going to bat Cal or Julio second or third. Those guys have earned those spots in that lineup. So if they were both going to be struggling at the point, I don't know how the Mariners lineup operates because that's, those guys hit a lot. Those are 2 of the 3 most plate appearances, 2 of the positions that get the most plate appearances of any spot in the lineup. And if you were to have, say, for example, June Julio and July August Cal, those guys, that lineup would not be the same it currently is right now. The way it's structured, you can have one of those guys struggling, you can have one of them crushing. And I thought it was going to be Cal's going to work through some things, and Julio's going to go out there and crush. And then we got this weekend, where they're both just hitting nukes out of the ballpark. And it's what we talked about earlier this season. What if you get a 55 home run season from Cal and a 30 home run, potentially 30 stolen base season from Julio? That's pretty historic. So now we add to the calculator again, 250 home run hitters and a 30-30 season on the same team. When has that happened?
And oh, by the way, you're not even factoring in Randy.
No. Or Josh Naylor, who might be the most fun player out of any of them.
Well, and Randy's already at 2020. Naylor might get to 2020. He's already at the 20 stolen bags. So how crazy would that be? 250 home run guys, a 30-30 guy, and 2 2020 guys.
I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that has never happened.
Ever?
Probably not. Like, that's so many variables. Like, you need a team with homers. You need a team with stolen bases. Like, usually teams just pick one. For example, like, in 2019, those teams that the 2019 Astros are one of the teams that hit the most home runs of all time, but they didn't steal a ton of bases.
Yeah,
like those old Yankees teams just mashed.
And again, I keep saying it. Randy hitting leadoff, love every bit of it.
Yeah.
Keep him there. for the rest of the season? Because it's worked perfectly.
I'd say the simplest thing for Julio, he's getting back to doing a lot more damage on fly balls. If you're curious, before this hot streak, when he's hitting the ball in the air, his average exit velocity was roughly about what the league average is. The league average is, I think, a little bit below 90 miles an hour. He was hitting the ball in the air at about 90 miles an hour. Over this last stretch, when he hits the ball in the air, it's almost 100 miles an hour off the bat. Mm-hmm. That means all of these balls that Julio's getting under before, and he's popping out on the infield, and he's flying out to the middle of the outfield, these balls are going over the fence for home runs. That ball he hit to straightaway center, his first of 2 home runs on Saturday. In May, maybe he just flies out to center on that because he's not getting great contact, he's not on time, he's not balanced. But this one, he's hitting the barrel, he's just absolutely crushing it out to center field. And the Mariners get to score more runs because of it.
He really looked locked in all weekend. And
it was cool to hear. It was also really cool to see him do that, and the story of him and Ichiro's relationship gets told more and more over the weekend, which I thought was great timing for Ichiro, having his number retired and acknowledging the team and telling them to, got time to put up and all this stuff. And then Ichiro and Julio talk about, the impact each other has on the two of them. And that Julio has his best weekend of the season when Ichiro's getting honored. I thought that was cool. And all the Ichiro kind of symbolism from Saturday's game. Do you notice that? Like Alex Mayer went on a bit of a stat peruse to find this. So the Mariners retired number 51 for Ichiro on Saturday. Cal Raleigh homered to make it 5-1 on Tampa Bay's 51st pitch. And then there were approximately 51 seconds between Cal's home run landing and Julio's home run landing.
Yeah, it was like the whole Seahawks Super Bowl when it was 12 seconds into the game when the safety happened, when the snap went over Peyton's head, and then it was 12 seconds into the second half when Percy housed the kick return for the touchdown that basically sealed that Super Bowl. That's what it felt like a little bit on Ichiro night.
Yeah.
With all those 51 symbolisms kind of just scattered around the game.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Honestly, the coolest thing I heard about Ichiro and Julio over the weekend was Ichiro talking about that he's learned certain things from Julio. And obviously the two are contrast each other in some ways about how Ichiro really reserved how he felt and his emotions a lot of the time, where Julio really wears it on his sleeve and always has, both, the happiness and the joy and then the frustrations at times. People really see that exude through Julio. But also do you hear the story that when one day Julio went over to Ichiro's house and they trained together because they wanted to work through a couple things, the two of them before a game one morning? That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that. That is pretty cool. How many people get invites to Ichiro's house?
We don't.
No, we don't. Unfortunately not.
I'm going to guess not many people do.
So it's a pretty cool relationship they have, where it's a former franchise face, and Ichiro hopes that Julio, while he's got some competition now with Cal, can be that franchise face and understand the pressure that takes on and where they come from and how each player is unique. That's another thing that Ichiro is kind of hammering home this week, where, you talk about how unique every player is and how unique Ichiro was and how he wants every player to be that way, to not try and be something else, just be yourself. It's being Julio. We tell Julio to stop striking out as much, but maybe that's just part of Julio's game. Julio's not going to walk. He's going to strike out a bunch.
Actually, I told him to do exactly that in the middle of the year. I said, stop trying to strike out less, strike out more. I don't care, but hit for power.
Okay, Ichiro.
Yeah?
I know you did say that.
People call me just a knockoff Walmart Ichiro.
To be fair, he started striking out more, and now he's hitting more dingers. There you go. It did. It worked magically.
I don't know if Ichiro is I don't know if Ichiro's hell-bent on Julio has to be the face of the team. I don't think Ichiro's going to have any gripes if it's Cal. But no. I think Ichiro wants Julio to live up to his potential.
Well, it's just dealing with what comes with being Julio, because Ichiro lived it. In fact, he as popular as Julio is, Ichiro, because of Japan, had to deal with much more.
Right.
It's a lot more pressure on him. He's like, hey, I get it. Here's how we're going to work through this. Mm-hmm. What did we think of the end of Ichiro's speech where he's like, all right, guys, time to put up?
There have been other people that have tried that. Remember when Junior said keep fighting, and that became a big slogan in 2016, and they did miss the playoffs.
See, part of it with these speeches, it kind of requires you to have more good players on your roster.
It does, and this team has that.
Many more good players than that 2016 team had. God, that 2016 team.
Well, they had 3 really good players, and then a drop-off.
See, the key about building good teams is you need more than 3 good players. So sure, you could have Robinson Cano, you could have Kyle Seager, you could have Nelson Cruz, but then you could also have Adam Lind at first.
Dude, or Chris Iannetta behind the plate.
Yeah. Or they had a 22-year-old Ketel Marte at shortstop, but this was before he was actually good, and he hit like Ben Williamson this year.
Oh, dude,
actually, if you just heard me compare Ketel Marte to Ben Williamson, please wipe your brain right now.
No. Let me say it like 5 times so anybody listening that's one of these insane Ben Williamson stands. And again, we have to say it every time. This is no knock on Ben Williamson himself. We really like Ben. It's about the crazy people online. Ben Williamson is not Ketel Marte. Ben Williamson is not Ketel Marte. Ben Williamson is not Ketel Marte. All right, there. We just said it for everybody. Dude, when Ketel got traded that winter, I'll expose myself. I couldn't have been more fired up to see him get traded away because I was like, they just got a 200-hit shortstop. And despite Mitch Haniger kind of being an undervalued part of that trade and an underrated part of that trade, I was like, dude, I like Mitch Haniger. I think he's got a chance to really make an impact in Seattle, and he did.
Dog, I forgot the best part about this team.
Dae-Ho Lee?
I was going to say we missed 317 plate appearances of Dae-Ho Lee.
And Daniel Vogelbach.
No, he was. He
was.
I guess 23-year-old Daniel Vogelbach getting 13 at bats
with a negative 31 OPS plus.
That's not good. So yeah, maybe when Griffey looks at that team, he's saying it doesn't quite land the same as a team that has as many good players as the Mariners currently do. Oh, and by the way, the biggest difference between that team and this team, besides the talent on the big league roster, is they have a real farm system. Dare we look at the prospect rankings from 2016?
Oh, God. Wasn't Alex Jackson number 1 that year?
Let's see.
He was. No, he was. I remember this. 2016 was like an all-time low for a Mariners farm system. But while you look it up, I will say, when Edgar also got his number retired and he gave his speech, it also didn't work. Because similar idea, it was a team that was not good enough.
Edwin Diaz was the top prospect. That one panned out okay. Alex Jackson was number 2, though he's listed as an outfielder here. Drew Jackson was number 3.
Oh, remember him? The shortstop?
Yeah. Tyler O'Neill, actual big leaguer, was number 4.
I mean, he was a big leaguer, but... Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of... Never mind. I was thinking of Tyler Smith, the old Oregon State shortstop, who did get up for a little bit in 17, but...
Nick Neidert.
Oh, boy. Yep.
Andrew Moore.
Oh, boy.
Luis Gohara.
Dude, wasn't he, like, huge? Like, I'm pretty sure he was.
6'3", 210.
Yeah.
Boog Powell.
Dude, this is making me want to, like, vomit.
So, like, compare and contrast with the Mariners' current farm system right now. See, I'm at Boog Powell here, number 8, who was not a big leaguer. He appeared briefly in the big leagues. Not a big leaguer. The Mariners' number 8 prospect right now is Michael Arroyo.
Dude,
the top 100 prospect.
This episode's about the big league team, but if we're just going to mention his name, can I for 60 seconds just do this? You know who's insanely underrated in the Mariners farm system? Michael fucking Arroyo. This dude at every level does nothing but mash. The only reason he's not a higher prospect is because he has questions about where he's going to play defensively long term and if he's going to be a capable enough defender. I mean, you're talking every level. This dude, Michael Arroyo, just mashes. even in Double-A right now, he's doing the same thing. Down in Arkansas, he's currently sitting with like an 800 OPS.
And relative to all the other levels, an 800 OPS in Arkansas is very good because that park is very hard to hit in. Cole Emerson, while hitting his first Double-A home run over the weekend, did learn that the hard way. He pissed on a ball, I think it was on Friday, and flew out to the warning track in right field.
And then the next day actually hit a homer. Man, he looks like he has transitioned to Double-A with no issues because he looks great defensively too. But anyway, okay, really quick just to do this. Michael Arroyo, 2022 in the Dominican Summer League, 941 OPS. His OPS for the year in 23, 803. OPS for the year in 24, 910. And currently OPS for the year in 25, 886. Every year, he just mashes. That's the 8th prospect in the Mariners system. Michael Arroyo, if he doesn't get traded, number one, has a chance to really hit in the majors. But when you compare it to the 2016 team and that farm system, when it's Boog Powell and, like Drew Jackson, looks a little different.
Like, this is everything the organization has worked towards since Jerry took over for that 2016 team. 10 years later, this is like about what you want. You have a stacked lineup. You have, when healthy, one of the 3 best rotations in baseball. The bullpen, depending on the year, is good. And your farm system's loaded. You have more top 100 prospects than everybody. And the vibes are good. And the state people are lining up for miles to get in the ballpark.
That was crazy on Friday. That line on Occidental, it was...
Well, because it went all the way down Occidental and then looped back around.
Crazy.
Giveaway must have been worth it. I hope so. But the fans showed out this weekend, and again, from everyone we talked to, I understand why. People are excited. Like, legitimately excited. Like, there's foundation to all of this and hope into the future. It's not like blind hope. It's legitimate fact-based hope about a baseball team that on paper is better than everyone else, and they're playing better than everyone else right now.
This is all we've ever asked for. This is what this whole fan base screams for. You say, give us something to love. Give us a good product to love, and people will love it almost unconditionally. When you don't do that, people are going to be really mad, like the narrative was over the winter when you missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. But you do things like this. You take the deadline seriously. You take your roster seriously. You take winning seriously. People show up. I know it was Ichiro weekend, but I feel pretty confident in saying you're going to see a lot more people showing out throughout the rest of the summer and into September if this keeps up, and I think it will, because it's a great product that people can really buy into. That is all we've ever asked. That is all fans have ever asked over all the last few years of all the animosity. Give us a product to love and buy into, and we now have that.
And hopefully it keeps going, and hopefully the team backs it up for these final 2 months.
Yeah. Man, I think that's all we got. When you've got a positive episode, we don't have to spend 15 minutes talking about like all the futility.
You managed to make it all the way through this episode without mentioning Dan Wilson's bullpen decisions.
Which, I mean, had its own questions again this weekend, but it's not even worth talking about.
Dude, they might be good enough to beat out bad bullpen decisions.
Yeah.
They might be.
I hope they are.
That's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. And again, it's not even worth like rehashing because the weekend was way too positive and way too exciting and way too upbeat to waste any energy on that. This Mariners team is so fun, and that's all people should buy into.
All right, 60 seconds on this because we did talk about it on Friday's mailbag. And we were paying attention to something and wanted to see if something would happen during the ceremony on Saturday. So John Stanton did talk. I didn't think he would, but he was up there. He talked. He read off a piece of paper. They're giving Ichiro a statue. There were some boos. Were there more or less than you expected?
Less, and if you want me to just do a quick recap, I would say it said 2 things. There was a fair amount of casual fans in the ballpark this weekend, and that's not a shot at anybody. It's just, I think, the truth that when there's a weekend like that, there will be more casual fans that go into a ballpark because they want to celebrate Ichiro. And, again, it's more to the point of what we just talked about, and this is the bigger picture here. The team is so exciting right now that it probably just wasn't worth a lot of people's energy. People are just more invested in the success of the team and seeing Ichiro night rather than wasting their energy on that. To your point, like what you said on Friday, if they had done nothing at the deadline and we're out of a playoff spot right now, I think it would have been very different. But it probably just wasn't worth people's energy.
There's just no reason right now to be negative. Because it's like, oh, you'd be booing because of the offseason. But the roster right now is great.
Yeah.
So, like, what are we booing?
And again, that is a Jerry and Justin thing. Like, I don't think anybody's sitting here applauding them because they took on like $8 million in payroll at the deadline. That's what you should do. That is the like minimal expectation of what you should do. So, like, again, like nobody's like parading them, but it just wasn't worth people's energy. The team's too exciting. The players on the field are what deserve all the energy.
Right, 100%. And that energy is about as fun as. For me, in 27 and almost a half years old, about as fun as it's ever been. Just sitting here trying to soak this all in, man. We watched a lot of bad baseball. A lot of bad baseball.
Dude, we just talked about having to buy into a roster that had Chris Iannetta behind the plate.
And that was one of the better teams we watched growing up.
All right, before we wrap up this podcast, let's pick one roster that we had to watch. You know what? Let's do 2013, because I think it's fair to say the last year of truly, truly atrocious Mariners baseball was 2013. Now, in 2019, they weren't good either because they were starting their rebuild or step back or whatever you want to call it. But isn't it fair to say that once they got Robbie, that most years they have been competitive?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was going to say 20. I was going to say 11, 12, or 13 is the year you should pick.
I think 13. Yeah, I was thinking about 11 too, but let's just do 13 because that was the year before it really started to like feel somewhat fun again. So that year, honestly, this one doesn't even actually highlight it that great because there was actually a couple of decent hitters in this lineup. Let me look at 2011 and then decide if that one's better.
All right, I'll look at 2012 too. 2012.
Oh, you know what? Here we go. Here we go. 2011's the roster read. This is the roster read. Let's do it. In 2011, if you were listening to this podcast and you were TJ and I's age, you were about 13. Yeah, you were 13 years old during this season. If you were older than us, you were older than this, you were younger than us. If you're younger than us now, you're younger than this. But this is a full season of a team we watched. Miguel Olivo behind the plate, 641 OPS. Justin Smoke at first. Dustin Ackley at second. That was his rookie year, and the 1 year he was actually good, and people started to get excited about him. He was like the shining star of that team. Otherwise, you had Brennan Ryan at second.
He's worth almost four wins in 90 games.
Yeah, he was. Again, that was Dustin Ackley's one good year. Sorry, not Brennan Ryan at second. Ackley was at second. Brennan Ryan at short. Sean Figgins at third. Good God, man. 484 OPS with a 40 OPS plus, and that was one of the biggest contracts they ever gave out to a guy.
And this was the year they cut him.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
I mean, what a disaster. So, universally despised, awful player. Fans couldn't stand him. I'm pretty sure his teammates couldn't stand him. Good Lord. Carlos Peguero was their primary left fielder by Baseball Reference in 46 games, who, by the way, I loved Carlos Peguero because it was during an era that there was nothing to get excited about except some monstrous dude who every 100 at-bats would hit a 500-foot homer. That guy had a 622 OPS that year. Goody was in center, and this was one of Goody's bad years. Like it was 2011. Goody at the time was how old? He was 28, but he was injured a lot of the year. He had a 54 OPS plus that year. Okay, so he was in center, and then you had Ichiro in right, who was, pretty much at his tail end of his Mariners tenure by that point. He did not have a good year that year either. He had a 645 OPS, and then you had, you know what? Oh, are you already looking at the list? I was going to try to quiz you on who DH'd on this team.
Oh, I'm staring right at the roster right now.
I'm going to bet you there's a lot of people who either don't remember this name or have never even heard of this guy. I remember him from his time with the A's. It is one Jack Cust. How? This is a real roster they constructed in 2011.
Oh, and this was smack in the middle of Jaxie's tenure.
Oh, my God.
He had full time to implement everything he needed to.
Dude, and then you get past Felix in that rotation. It's Jason Vargas, Michael Pineda, who I'm pretty sure was a rookie that year too. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And then they traded him shortly after. But Doug Fister, Blake Bevan, Bedard was still there. Oh my God.
At least Brandon League was pretty good, but otherwise,
dude, who the hell are some of these guys? Who is Jamie Wright? And that guy was good for them that year. Who is that?
well, I see. I believe this is rookie Kyle Seager on the bench here, right next to Jack Wilson, Jacob Wilson's dad.
Seriously,
Casper Wells. Oh, dog, Milton Bradley's on here.
This is a real team we watched less than 15 years ago.
How about Greg Hullman? Almost 100 at bats.
Oh, I remember him. R.I.P.
Alex Liddy. I only know him because he is Italian.
Seriously, who is Jamie Wright? This guy had a 3.16 ERA in 60 appearances. Who is that?
Oh, he was pretty valuable that year. He was the second most valuable member of that bullpen.
That is what we watched less than 15 years ago. And now, people, we are watching a team that's a hell of a lot more exciting than that. Hell of a lot more.
Actually, I think we just found our some lockout topics here. We're just going to look at old Mariners rosters.
Yeah. That would be fun. We should do that. Because you can do things like that. Who is Jamie Wright?
Who is Jamie Wright? Appreciate it, people. It has gotten a lot better.
Way better.
If you're 13 right now watching this team, no, you didn't have to go through this struggle.
No. In fact, like, people around our age have the worst of it because we were too young to remember the 90s and 2001, and then we had to live through all the hell.
Yeah. Yep. And now we've made it. Hopefully.
Let's keep pushing. Go get that wild card. Or sorry, not wild card. Forget the wild card. Go get that bye. Go get the first round bye. Go get the 2 seed. Let's go do that.
Go win the division. Finally time for another banner 24 years later.
Yes, but get the banner and get the 2 seed. Because like a banner with the 3 seed, you still have to play in the wild card round.
Yeah.
Get the 2 seed. So yeah. All right, that just about wraps up this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. If you want to listen to the full form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your audio pods. Please make sure to download. Please make sure to rate and review 5 stars. It really does help us out if you do. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, and go hit that subscribe button. If you're on our website, you can go over to our website to find a bunch of our stuff, whether it be our live show schedule, our Patreon. Remember, if you sign up for our Patreon, you get ad-free episodes. You get priority on mailbag questions. You get monthly calls with us. There's a bunch of really cool access and good stuff. Go get your merch too. Go get the merch. Like, for as exciting as it is to be a Mariners fan right now, like, go get some merch to wear around the ballpark and show your support for this team and show your support for us. Like, we love seeing people wear that stuff around the park, and we'd love to see all you guys wearing it too. So all that's over at our website, marinelayerpod.com, and you can find us across social media at marinelayerpod. That's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.